So guilt of working mom वरती.
खरंच, are we really going to go down that road?
Of course, we're going to talk about everything.
We missed it. So those subjects can also be discussed.
Can I have a glass of water?
Yes, of course.
I'll get
What?
one. Rani, continue.
So something about the guilt of working moms. तुझा तर खूप hectic असणार आणि time. It's not like me, for example, who works in an office, so she can answer phone calls if she needs to.
So there are very simple, things that you follow. I, in this whole feeling of inadequacy, there are a lot of things you push your own boundaries with. I have friends like Ro who keep saying, listen, slow down. You're doing enough. So this reassurance from them, from Vishal, my husband. When my mom was around, it was from her end because even she was a working mother.
Correct.
इनॲडिक्युसीला कोणी काही नाही करू शकत आपल्या फिलिंगला आणि ते येतच. पण आय थिंक इफ यू आर a slightly intelligent person or you can use your mind, there are wonderful ways you will help yourself cope with it. Sometimes you will fail, sometimes you will keep doing it and you're really successful at it, but you can continue to feel really crappy ki nahi hota माझे children. I was very sure I wanted to have both children before 30. I actually planned it like that, spread my children nearly 6 years apart because my mom was my sole support system apart from my spouse. आणि तर मॅनेजमेंट अशी करावी लागते. मी इंद्रा नोईंचा एक इंटरव्ह्यू पाहिला होता. यू डेलिगेट तर आधी मी सगळं स्वतः करायचा प्रयत्न करायचा. सो आय कुक, आय स्टील डू दॅट, बट आय डू दॅट टुडे बिकॉज आय फील हॅपी अँड आय हॅव हेल्प ॲट होम हू प्रेप फॉर मी. मग स्वयंपाक करायला वेळ ऑल्सो बिकॉज देर वॉज अ लॉट ऑफ थॉट अँड आय वॉज व्हेरी ॲडमेंट अबाउट वॉट दे नीड टू ईट ॲट वॉट टाइम. आय डिडंट वॉन्ट देम टू मिस आउट. And I realized की ह्या सगळ्याचं प्रेशर मी माझ्यापेक्षा ना माझ्या मुलांना देते unknowingly, in the sense that certain things that happened I'll share with you. So I now have help. I have my staff at my workplace, which is my personal staff. People, there's a lovely boy called Ketan who does my makeup. There's someone called Sandhya who does my hair. I have a man Friday. They have the phone. I have told everybody at home that in case you need me to answer that call because they're in a silent zone. जेव्हा आम्ही शूट करत असतो फोन सायलेंट वर असतो. So I call urgently. Will make me drop everything and I will call.
Correct.
And that applies to most of my friends. So they will say की मला आत्ता बोलायचंय फोन कर. And they know that. I have lovely people who do understand that I'm driving. I may read a message and not reply instantly or whatever. And those who don't understand that are not my friends. So that's very simple. And as far as children are concerned, we are lucky to be in a profession where I can choose my working days, which are 22 to 25 days in a month, and my Sundays are not off. Having reached a slightly better position today in life, I can try and say which those days are going to be. So they non-negotiable as the PTA, sports day, concerts, their state level or district level competitions वगैरे वगैरे, investitures, जे काही असेल ते. पण my birthday, Sundays, sometimes our anniversaries, they do, and the evening is always there. When children are older, they demand less of your time because they want to spend it with friends, which is also absolutely fine. पण हे मॅनेज करता येतं. Another very wonderful thing which my profession I think allowed me was I could nurse my kids till 1.5 years of age because I took my kids to work. आणि फॉर्च्युनेटली किंवा अनफॉर्च्युनेटली माझे 2 लँडमार्क प्रोजेक्ट्स, एक वॉज मेघदाटले जी झीवर होती ती, आणि लेडी स्पेशल जी मी सोनीसाठी केली. ह्या दोन्ही सिरियल्स तेव्हा आल्या माझ्याकडे. म्हणजे लेडी स्पेशल केम टू मी द डे आय डिलिव्हर्ड शायगाव, अँड आय सेड लिसन आय कॅन नॉट, द प्रोजेक्ट गॉट पोस्टपोन्ड अ लिटल अँड आय वॉज लकी टू बी एबल टू टेक इट ऑन. I used to take her to set because she finished her vaccinations at 3 months and I could do the show, and so they have supported me immensely also. So आता मी विषय नावाचं एक एक्झिबिशन केलं. मी अजूनही जी आठवड्याला 2 किंवा 2 आठवड्याला 2-3 पुस्तकं वाचायचे, that I managed to do in a month about 1 or 2. but you need to put your phone away for it, is what I realized. So I just got out of all the WhatsApp groups, or I'm mentally not present. So basically delegating tasks, not saying I'm going to do everything myself, no, being apologetic but not being hard on yourself is something I've learned at 46. But in my 20s it was a very tough
But it
life.
takes a long time to come to that.
It took me. I hope it doesn't take the younger generation that
पण
much.
लहान मुलं असताना आपल्याला वाटतच की
नाही आपल्याला काही वाटत असलं तरी आपलं कंडिशनिंग पण असं असतं. आय रिमेंबर माय मॉम कॉन्स्टंटली टेलिंग मी नाही बाळा करिअर आणि घर दोन्ही गोष्टी होऊ शकतात. सो होऊ शकतात मध्ये करायला गेलं आणि देन ॲट द सेम टाइम शी वॉन्ट टू प्रोटेक्ट मी ऑल्सो. बट आय गो अ लिटल इझियर ऑन माय डॉटर इज व्हॉट.
बरोबर
त्रास होतो.
बरोबर नाही आणि होऊ शकतात पण मतलब पर्सनली आय फील की देर इज नोबडी टू लुक ॲट अँड से की अरे हिने कसं केलं हिच्याकडनं शिकू शकतो ते कोणी शेअरच नाही करत.
नाही त्यांना वाटतं माझा अनुभव असा पण आहे की 3 महिन्याचं बाळ घेऊन कोण शूटिंगला जातं का ह्यांना पैशाचं खूपच असतं किंवा दॅट थिंग ऑफ येस द अर्ज ऑफ गेटिंग इन टू मेकअप अँड गेटिंग इन टू युअर रोल. Sorry, but nothing can. I worked on Dil Mil Gaye till the 8th month. I used to drive to Kanjur, but then my tummy used to touch the steering and it got a little risky, in case of an impact, it would not be good. But I could because my face was untouched. I just had slightly chubbier cheeks, but the rest of it was shot very beautifully. So they managed hoto. But you should want to do it. So I just think women who say that, nahi, for my children I gave up my work. I think you were a little lethargic.
Correct. You didn't want it enough.
And maybe you were happier doing that. So that's also fine.
No, that's what. But personally, I think everyone's life again, like a love story, is so different, right? I mean, depending on the support system, depending on your own temperament. Like in my case, I'm a single parent.
Original conditioning also.
Original conditioning to hai. So I'm a single parent, right? But I had a working mother. So I grew up thinking मैं ना काम धाम छोड़ूंगी बच्चा पैदा करूंगी तो मैं उसको टिफिन बनाऊंगी मैं उसको.
See the other way.
I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have that luxury because I had to bring bread to the table literally. But he sat on my shoulder and I've written episodes.
बरोबर.
So kids don't understand deadlines कि कल submission है कल shoot है पैसे चले जाएंगे, right? So I have also had to do, and like she said, society will not help beyond a point.
Correct.
Right? At the end of the day, it's your monkey, your circus wala zone ho jata hai.
Correct.
So even your inner circle will, when it's happy, when the child is happy, everyone is happy to play with the child.
Correct.
But when the child is having a moment, everyone will come and give it to you, right?
Correct.
And at that point, if you want to do something or you have and in that sense, her life state is different from mine because I'm a back-end person.
But writing with deadlines, you
Bapre.
can't just bring it out of your head. I'll perform.
अभी करो लिखो and लिखने में मतलब फिर delete हुआ episode जाते थे rewrite करो. Lots of shit would happen. But that being said, it's also about what you want to do. So I wanted to come home to tuck him to bed every day. I wanted to be the one to feed him. And I so had these non-negotiable tasks which I didn't want to give to someone else. No matter what. So I lost a lot of work actually back in the day because I was seen as very unemployable. कुछ भी हो जाता था ना, I would say that I can work till 4 o'clock because I have to go pick up my son from school. I have to put him to bed, and I would not take meetings after 6 o'clock. We had to go home by 7 o'clock. ऐसा सब होता था. So now that he's older, I'm able to say that okay, this is what I'll do. Like she says, today at my career after almost 18 years, I say that okay, I'm not working Sundays. I'm not working Sundays. मतलब कल की shoot है, deal with it. So अभी पहली बार मैंने लाइफ में ये बात बोली है because otherwise it's like you're worrying ऐसे बोलूंगी ना मेरा काम छूट जाएगा ऐसे करके ना मेरा काम छूटता है really नहीं छूटता है. They replace you like this. It's a very callous industry that way, okay? You're replaceable literally in a very heartless manner and you put in your sweat and blood and actually writers get replaced even more easily because nobody knows them, right? I mean it's a faceless participation. So हमको निकाला किसी को पता भी नहीं चलेगा on air. Actors को तो फिर भी 2 बार लोग सोचेंगे. So it's tough like that. But mother's guilt is real, I feel. So when he was younger, I used to take him to work, put him there, he would draw. But abhi I can't do that. So but I think one thing which stayed with me, which I will tell my child, tell tomorrow I have a bahu or whatever, that your child just needs to see that you are doing your best. You will make 100 mistakes. And you have to forgive yourself first. Because the moment it's a very victim mode thing. The moment हमको खुद लगता है अरे मैंने कम किया ना, दुनिया भर आ जाती तुमको बोलने के लिए, अरे तुमको इससे बेटर करना चाहिए। अगर मैं खुद आई केयर अ डैम एटीट्यूड से करूँ ना, आई ओनली ओवर एक्सप्लेनेशन टू माई चाइल्ड, आई लॉस्ट माई टेम्पर, सॉरी बच्चा, मूव ऑन.
Correct.
Which is one thing I feel our generation of mothers do differently. Is our mothers never apologize to us.
Yeah.
You know,
Never.
they fought with us. They would make gajar ka halwa and puri bhaji the next day for us. But they will never say sorry, Priya. मैंने तेरा दिल दुखाया.
I still have a tough time doing that. I
So-
just do it like this and that and see
No,
the
so
best
that is one
I
thing
do.
I told myself because I would
have
feel
to do
shitty
it.
when my mom would not say sorry.
Correct.
I say sorry, but I say sorry like 100 times a day, which may make I make 100 mistakes a day.
That's Priya. I never expected it from my mom.
So that's what I'm saying. So we're all different on so many
Also,
levels.
our children are very different, you know. And I realized that as working mothers, like I remember when I was doing Veer Shivaji, I was like in all that finally the नऊवारी साडी आणि दागिने वगैरे करून अजून 5 किलो माझं वजन वाढायचं. And I was on the horseback and my I have fixed days for vegetarian and non-vegetarian because my children are carnivores, not just like कि आज सोमवार, आज मंगळवार, simply so that I can avoid the. And Wednesday when there was no fish and you know he said, "आई काय आज माझ्या टिफिन मध्ये मासा नाही." I just lost it because I was here in the rain. My horse was acting up and trying to throw me down and with a sword. It was so crazy. And I just howled because I said, "You're not going to ask me. You will eat what is given to you." And all of it came from, "Oh God, I'm working, so I can't give them what they
Correct,
want."
correct.
And I could. Then I just broke that thing off. Okay, it's a Tuesday. We'll have fish because Ai has an off. We stock up fish, you know, people in Mahim do not buy fish and put it in the fridge because we have satellite market. So you break a few rules and you go ahead with it. And then my homeopath, who's like a friend and philosopher and guide, and she said, "Why don't you tell him that you have trouble doing it?"
Correct.
Which I had real issues doing. कि I will not say कि हे मला
How can I
जमणार
admit
नाही.
weakness?
Not about
It's not
weakness,
about weakness.
again
You
it's
don't want your
again
child to feel
that it's
that
not.
he's a burden on you.
Okay.
And that's how I taught him to cook, and I can't believe he's doing culinary art today. And you know, and I remember an incident in school, like how everything comes out to support you once you are willing to share your vulnerability. His teacher, class teacher, said, you know, Mrs. Shetty, Vivan was dumping his paratha in the dustbin, and I do that to put the veggies in, and every day he was having it. So I told him, you know, your mother works so hard, and she's doing so much here, and all of that, and he just said, yes, miss, I'll take care, and bagare. Then I told her, you know, actually, my help who comes at home makes the paratha, not me, so I don't think he feels very bad about that. But he didn't tell his teacher that.
Correct.
Because he has had his friends' mothers constantly asking me, "Oh, you leave, come to school, your mom reaches the set at 9 o'clock, so when you leave she's not there, and when you go back she's not there, how are you managing?" And Vivan said that, yeah, but I also have a father.
Barabar.
Okay, that having said that, he said, when I leave my mom is there, when I come back and these bedtimes and this, we are racing against time because
Correct.
I used to be shooting in Naigaon and driving back at breakneck speed till one day I realized, listen, a late mother is better than a late mother. And we can, you know, so because work hours and a lot, there is,
माझी
and this is
मुलगी
not just us, this is all working
Correct.
mothers.
हे माझी मुलगी आता सांगते, why do you do these events? Yeah.
Today's
what time
holiday.
are you going to be back? I said 8:30. You please come back by my dinner time.
You're lucky she still wants you back.
8 वाजताचा डान्स क्लास असतो माझा, 8 ते 9:30, म्हणजे 10 पर्यंत मी परत. What is this? Every week you're going for dance. What is the need to learn dance?
And I also feel kids now, it's not about what you do, it's how you do it and how you make them feel,
हाँ.
right? So I feel if I get only 1 hour with my child, I'm okay with a messy house and we
Correct,
sit and we giggle and we play
Watch
a
a
board
movie,
game.
yeah, correct.
You know, if I use that 1 hour to clean the house, I
Correct,
get
then
no
they
time
get
with my
there,
child.
correct.
So my house is perennially messy, literally. I mean, that's an excuse I would use my friends would. Like I am also a lazy
Because
person.
quantity matters. There's a whole
No,
sham
yeah.
that quality.
So there are
that-
days when, you know, we just, like in the lockdown, actually in a bizarre sort of way, I was unemployed through the lockdown. And when
we
Atul
all
came
were in
home,
the entertainment
I got
industry.
so much quality time with my child. And we would do things like we watched a movie every day. Like we watched some 80, 90, 100 movies together in my life. Okay, and we then became film critics and connoisseurs and all of that. So, but we also did nothing together.
Correct.
And that being together and doing your own thing, जो nothingness होता है ना, there is so much value in that. So much. Like, you know, we bought coloring books and he would color one side and I would color one side. And for 2-3 hours we're
Doing
silent, we're not talking, we're not sharing. जो again Instagram का world में मतलब communicate with each other. Bullshit. Silence is way more beautiful.
Correct.
And this age, you know, when you have teenagers who are 18 and 19, and before he went to university, I said, oh gosh, I've started the show just when you are going to go off, and I'm not going to get married. And he said, Ai, haven't we had enough time? 2 years even. This is true. Like, for a mother, it's not, but from his point of view, I think he had enough of all of us.
Once my son there was some consent form that I had forgotten to sign. काहीतरी something happened and there was one workshop in which he was not taken. त्याला वेगळं बसायला लागलं आणि मग सगळे मग तो काही आला ना, what is this, you didn't sign my this thing, I had to. आणि मला इतकं I don't know what that day maybe have been work, कारण usually तसं नसतं. मी म्हटलं, मग मला एकदम वाईट वाटलं की अरे यार मी एवढं पण मला आठवलं नाही, such a dumbo I am, and he started crying. And he said, like, what happened? I said, oh, I'm such a bad mother, I didn't sign the consent. You, forgive me, but if whether you're a bad mother or I only can say ना, मतलब बाकी कोई लोग तो नहीं बोलेंगे, सब लोग बोलेंगे कि मुझे मैंने याद नहीं किया. But सब लोगों को क्यों पूछ रहे हो? Bad mother मतलब mother, whether you're good or bad, I can declare.
No, but I must say that my child does that. Because the thing is, and people are
There
very
is no
quick to
bad
comment.
mother.
And people are very quick to comment. I mean,
Correct.
you to socialize so much. Like, I have got his reputation amongst his friends, other people, कि तू ना बहुत socialize करता है. And what people don't see is, I get 1 day a week, तो मैं उसको ना penguin viewing, इधर play, जबरदस्ती बेचारा मैं उसको पता नहीं 8 critic बना रही हूँ. मतलब I take him everywhere. My point is, I have 1 day in the week, right?
Correct.
I'm going to make it count.
Correct.
I think that is also reached a level now. अभी 1 महीना दुकान बंद होने वाला है. But the point I'm making is, like people are very quick to in front of him also say
Correct.
that अरे तुमको क्या फर्क पड़ता है, तुम तो बहुत मस्ती करती हो, तुम तो हमेशा जाती रहती हो, तुम हमेशा खाने को जाती हो. And I'm like, oh God, he's going to shut. He's like, Mama, it's okay. I understand.
I know, yeah.
What do you get?
They want to see you.
And that's all. Actually, now I've reached like they are flying.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
भाड़ में जाओ. If you जिसको yes, जिसको पता होना है. And we fight like कुत्ता बिल्ली. Okay, it's not like we have the most.
He
Like,
looks like
such a cute
angel.
आते हैं? We will talk. Ask those two जिनके घरों तक हमारी चिल्लाने की आवाज जाती है. By the way, those are my friends. Like हमारा second floor, fifth floor.
See, this is another beauty
level.
with writers. They don't have a face. I have to take care that my voice doesn't change. So because you'll be recognized outside.
अगले बिल्डिंग से भी कंप्लेंट जाती है मेरी वो फ्रेंड की मम्मी को कि तुम्हारी वो फ्रेंड और उसकी बेटा कितना लड़ते हैं, कितना लड़ते हैं. But then we make up with like we'll order food, we'll watch a movie, we'll sing, sang, ding that. So I think to remember that there is no perfect.
Correct, of course, there is no perfect.
Every
But
day is
we
a
will
learning.
find, na, that there may be a perfect and we must somehow.
But luckily I was in therapy and my therapist told me, Priya, no matter how good you are, in your own unique way you'll screw up your child. Okay. So then once I think that took a weight off my chest. I was like,
ये
okay.
तो होना ही है.
I was
No
happy.
matter what, you will screw him up.
करेल नंतर थोड़ी.
No, he doesn't know.
So to come back to Tema
So
and
sorry.
to conclude, then we can ask questions. If anybody has any questions, please ask. Because we've just been asking whatever we wanted. Anything relevant, more relevant things you want to ask.
I know.
But because you said last month, what is the response now and why are you winding up the show? Why have the channel decided?
I don't think the channel can afford Swapnil Joshi and Shilpa Tulaskar.
Oh.
Swapnil Joshi. No, so what happens is finally it is a dukaan. Okay,
Correct.
revenues do rule a lot of
Correct.
things, and it is an expensive show. She's right. They not just the two of us. There's a lot of other things.
Correct.
Also, we are not at the bottom. You know, I'm not saying we are at a TRP of 7 like one of the Star Pravaha shows. We have a beautiful niche audience. So Nilesh Maikar, who's the head of programming and was instrumental in me doing Tute Matashi. Imagine a pyramid, okay? So shows like Tute Matashi are watched by people, more like people who are present here. But we are just the tip. Agdi टोक जे त्या pyramidचा आहे, मुंबई, पुणे, नागपूर, ती माणसं तशी आहे. खालचा जो बॉटम बेस जो आहे pyramidचा, that is in the rural areas. त्यांचं आयुष्य खूप वेगळं आहे आपल्या ह्याच्यापेक्षा. So in this entire scenario, sometimes when you start a show at the top, it seeps from here to the mid,
correct.
which is a mix of the urban and rural,
Yeah.
and sometimes even down. So Tula Pahate Re, which was Subodh Bhave and Gayatri, that started here and went to the bottom and was encompassed the
सगळीकडे,
entire pyramid and was a huge hit.
Correct.
With तू तेव्हा तशी
अरे
we
ते मध्ये
reached
कुठे ते
somewhere.
जातं पण ते म्हणून ते तसं झालं असेल.
नाही
ते मध्यंतरी
that
psycho
show
झाला
was
होता तो show.
नाही, forget about that show. That's an example that you sometimes cut across your audience. With Tu Tema Tashi, we reached somewhere close to the center but was still away. त्यामुळे the amount of people watching it is not as much as
would have liked.
We would have liked to. We are happy with this, but the channel to keep running an expensive show.
Okay.
So finally there is a balance sheet that has to be worked out. And having said that, like I told her that at 11 p.m, which is who do you get? People who are stay at home and who can afford to stay up from 11 to 11:30, they will watch it. So it's nice to move out when you're doing well. We are at a TRP of 1.5 or 6 we touched also. 8 वाजताच्या शोज ना 1.6चा TRP नाही आहे.
Correct.
So we reached there. I mean, we didn't start. We
बरोबर.
started at 1.1 and these people brought out lovely stuff and we
Correct.
came. पण म्हणून tasach चालू नाही राहू शकत.
बरोबर.
And it's good to be too much of anything is also
Correct.
unless it's phenomenally.
And also,
working.
I think it was, from what I've understood now, it was sold on a concept
Correct.
of like two people who are choosing to not be married
Correct.
and who are choosing to be together in spite of that.
We followed that story.
So
to the
that
end.
story is what we wanted to wind up in its
बरोबर.
honest telling.
बरोबर.
If you now खींचने को तो सीरियल में हमको we all
अरे
become
हम क्या
pros
क्या
at it,
करते
right?
हैं, हाँ.
किसी का मर्डर होएगा, किसी की एक्स वाइफ आएगी, किसी का बच्चा पैदा होएगा,
Correct.
illegitimate बच्चा आएगा, ये सब कर सकते हैं हम लोग. लेकिन it would not be the main show.
Switch, leap.
या तो
Generation
मतलब
में.
जिस genre से start किया उसी पे हम end कर रहे
And
हैं.
a little
So
when
I
we
think-
went also, when Anamika's husband came into
Oh,
the picture,
nobody liked
we
that.
dipped. Nobody liked that
Nobody
because that one character. Imagine
He was-
my Maushi has worked.
Correct.
Appa has worked as characters.
Correct.
Anamika and Patya have worked in people. Radha has worked. That boy Neil has worked. And Sachin and Valli have worked. Valli
Correct.
also got her flag because initially they didn't know what to do with her.
Correct.
And then the fun element came out. But with the whole Akash thing, it just went.
Correct.
And there are a lot of things that come
नाही,
into
तो
the
थोडासा
picture.
great झाला.
नाही,
Not
it's
just
just
that.
not a
Actually,
little
what
off in
happens
that
again, I tell
tonality
you,
of the-
it's about the Indian psyche. Because Akash, for what it's worth, was the husband,
Correct.
and she was technically not divorced.
Correct.
Okay, so the unfortunately in India की the कितना भी कुत्ता रहने दो आदमी, like if you're bringing back the husband, are you then threatening this love story?
Correct.
This love story, these people are meant to be together, लेकिन legally वो उसका हक ज्यादा है.
No.
So they felt this whole.
So to be honest, मला
Diaspora
असं
didn't
वाटलं
work.
की ते जे एक कॅरेक्टर आहे ना त्याचा टोन थोडासा ऑफ होता. मला इट डिडंट फॉर मी इट डिडंट सीम ओनली की शी कुड बी मॅरिड टू समबडी.
Correct.
That
is what I told her.
मला पण तसंच वाटलं.
बोला
मी
एक
काय
इंसान.
म्हणते?
So what happened? I feel आता हे आपले पर्सनल व्ह्यूज आहेत आणि आपलं ऐकून काही ते लोक कोणाला
थोडंसं
कळणार
गावकरी
नाही.
element टाकायचं.
मलाही विचारलं नाही त्यांनी.
नहीं, but I was
काय
not
झालं?
part of that part. I came after
Exactly. That's why I
Assassin's
want to speak here because that's not her doing at all. And so now अगदी off the record information अशी आहे की a lot of challenges come up during the making of the show. We shoot 22 days a month,
Correct.
25 at times. तुमच्याकडे एका कॉस्टिंगचे ऍक्टर्स असतात, एका कॉस्टिंगचे ऍक्टर्स असतात, एका कॉस्टिंगचे ऍक्टर्स
बरोबर,
असतात.
हो.
हे करताना 7 दिवस ऑगस्ट मध्ये मी पॅरिसला निघून गेले इव्हेंट
अच्छा.
हॅव्हिंग शॉट फॉर कंटिन्युअस डेज बिफोर दॅट.
Correct.
स्वप्नील सेट की आय एम गोइंग टू बी गोइंग फॉर अ फिल्म. हे सगळं करताना when everything is going fine, you need to disrupt this entire good going thing in any
बरोबर
story
आहे,
also.
बरोबर आहे.
तर तिथे we will get the husband when things are going super between
हा.
Patya and Anamika.
बरोबर.
हे ठरलं होतं. थोडे हे डेट्सचे पण चॅलेंजेस आले, त्यांनाही काही मिळेना. The actors that they had in mind they did not get.
अच्छा,
Ashok
okay.
Samarth looked like a perfect thing for it, but in the characterization which came up in our discussions, if he would have been one Patil from Kolhapur,
हाँ.
because it would be a complete anti kind of
Correct,
thing.
बरोबर.
That didn't happen. Ashok spoke like that and tried to look something else. बिचाऱ्याचा त्याचाही काही fault नाही.
बरोबर.
And nobody liked him. No, nobody liking him was the point that they
Correct.
wanted to
बरोबर,
achieve.
of course.
पण बाकीचे challenges आले. त्या कॅरेक्टर बरोबर.
बरोबर.
So all these things,
it's a
happen.
part of this thing. But I felt, and me, like I said, मी असं episode to episode कधी follow नाही केलं. पण मी म्हटलं काय अशा माणसाची हिने लग्नच कसं केलं?
पण अशाच माणसांची अशा मुली करतात लग्न.
I totally agree.
This different, so even Patya and Anamika are so different from each other.
Correct. But she seems, between them also, she seems somebody who is willing to take that step and
But
take
this is
that
what again, so
for-
when we were reinventing the story when it moved to 11 o'clock, right? So one of the things primarily is like it looks like happily ever after.
बरोबर.
So now we have to actually tell a story of after happily ever after.
बरोबर.
For which we have to internalize the conflict.
This is
बरोबर.
brilliant.
So बाहर का कुछ अभी काम नहीं करेगा because
बरोबर.
they have chosen each other now.
बरोबर.
अभी अंदर से सिर्फ ego आ सकता है, insecurity, male stuff, woman's worry. She wanted to get married, he didn't propose to her. So we took all the conflicts inside. Instead of bringing ex-girlfriends, more husbands, more illegitimate
This
children.
was really intelligent according to me, because after you get married, it's no third party coming and
बरोबर,
intervening
हाँ,
unless
तेव्हा
you
तर
have
खूपच
a
handle करायचं.
really
बरोबर.
fluent character and a lot of money and a lot of time at hand. Otherwise, you're fighting each other,
बरोबर.
or yourself with each other.
Who was that person who said if in Hindi films the formula is that if two people are married, then if at the beginning of the film, then they will separate before the end and then get back together by the
It's
end of the
possible,
film.
but even
And
when you
if
write-
they are if they are not able to marry, then that film love story will continue till the end of the film.
But then unexpected love stories,
100%
Leila Majnu लो, Romeo Juliet लो, वो तो बेचारे मर गए सारे ना.
हाँ.
Those are the lifelong love stories.
She tried to do that to me in Dil Mein Gaye. That was the thing. I came in for 2 months, and then the chemistry from the word Gopal ki, I remember, saw it.
Our
Oh,
first
yeah.
episode when we
First
watched, we were like,
episode, we're scrubbing there, and Monish and I working together also for the first time, but some magic happened. So this is
and we were
really
like, love story
mystical.
किसकी बना रही है, उसकी बेटी की बना रही है.
But in Truth Ehatashi, since it's Women's Day, what I really liked about that serial was that every woman character in that serial, okay, is not stereotyped.
Correct.
Like there is, and they all, including Valli, who's supposed to be villainous and all. I think they've shown that sympathy that you feel towards her initially when
There is
because
a
her husband is
vulnerability to her.
unemployed, and the dialogues that are given to her to explain why she is the way she is,
Allowed
like
to be the way she is, yes.
So that I think that what they have built with the women na, in that serial, that I like.
Yeah. Even
So I-
Maushi character
So I
is
must
very
tell you, this has come from a man.
Hmm.
Nilesh has brought this out. Valli is justified because she loves her husband. Even here she takes it for granted की तिचं इतकं प्रेम आहे त्याच्यावर की त्या रिया बरोबर झालं पैसे मिळतील, कारण तिला छोट्यातला छोटा दागिना करता येत नाही, तिला भाजीपाला आणता येत नाही, म्हणून त्या सगळ्या नीड मधनं शी इज नॉट अ स्ट्रॉंग पर्सन. ती पट्याला फसवते, त्याला पैसे मिळू दे.
real life she actually, if you look at how
आहे.
insecurities crop up in women that we also don't like and all that,
Correct.
like generally. But when you see them like deeply, why she
Unhappy
is
lives.
the way she is, like there the compulsions that women
And she
feel
has not,
to be.
I was talking
I think
about
that has
control.
been
She has
brought
no
out very
control over
nicely.
her life.
No, but I think that's the
Complete
thing.
loss of control in
She
her
doesn't have
life,
any
It's very
everything.
easy because you're not wearing those shoes, right? I mean, I know so many cases. Like my mom was a working woman, and I grew up thinking, okay, she was not a very pleasant woman. But I know today I'm not a pleasant woman sometimes, because when you're wearing the pants and you're running the show, you can't always be sweet. You have to get your act together. So
Of course, and like
Valli
you said,
is
that
that-
ultimately, as we grow up, anyway, we seek validation only from people whom we love and who love us, na? So some third party thinking that we are not very pleasant is very irrelevant at 50. It might be very relevant at 20, okay, that somebody I don't know also doesn't like me, that may shake me up. But at
I
50,
really wish we
I
had
don't
this
feel
wisdom
that
when
you
we were in
feel
our
that way.
20s.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
life
But
would have been
listen,
rocking, man.
as actors, every second and third person can have these opinions
Of
about
course,
us.
of course.
So I'm in a more peaceful place.
Yes.
Any way you go to get crap. Because if you get all the lovely compliments, then this is also a part.
What
of
is the funniest criticism you've ever gotten for any of your shows?
funniest? I think must be for Tu Tevatashi only. In fact, very recently. So I've had this real good girl kind of an image, I realized, which, and I am not a bad girl, but I am not a good girl also. Like how, most men, I see it in their eyes, ki hi kiti sange, she would cook for me also, lots of my friends in college were so docile, take home to mom kind of a person, and my husband keeps saying, they should come and see this. But having said that, so recently when I said this story called Hasrate was a beautiful story of a woman, and unfortunately we had very little time, so there was a lot of touch and go to a lot of emotions and topics. अति अशी 50 वर्षाची बाई आहे जिचं लवकर लग्न झालं होतं, खूपच लवकर नवरा गेला, 2 मुली आहेत, त्या नवऱ्याने एक घर तिच्या धाकट्या मुलीच्या नावावर ठेवलंय फॉर सम रिझन. मोठी मुलगी आणि ती भांडत राहतात आणि म्हणतात की का आईला का द्यायचं हे. बरं ती तिचं एक स्वतंत्र साधं आयुष्य जगते. She's living it, she loves Rajesh Khanna, she sees his films, hears his song, talks to Alexa.
Okay.
Because she has nobody to talk to. Her maid comes home and she starts cribbing about अरे हे क्या है ना, देखो मेरे को बहुत क्यों लेट आ गई आज, मुझे सोने ही नहीं देता, रात को परेशान करता है, and I wish this would so आपकी life तो अच्छी है, and she's hurt because she wishes somebody woke her up in the night.
Correct.
So this is her background. One day, because of some misunderstanding, a handsome looking hunk, with one of the very best boards in town kind of guy walks through her door, and he comes and he's actually something else. I'm not going to let it out because I'm hoping you all watch it and not get shocked. But त्यांच्यात एक खूप intense आणि intimate scene होता, wherein we cheated a lot. I was wearing something off shouldered and वगैरे वगैरे. Now after this entire thing came out, and this whole patya consummation scene with me covered up till here came out also, and I'm happy to say that I have a following among age groups between 15 to 55 or 60 now, thanks to Tevha Tashi. Otherwise, boys or girls my son's age weren't really among the people who were appreciating my work. And so people had that Hasrate promo which I had posted on social media with a lot of courage, and then this thing also came out, and on one of my pictures, which was a very regular picture, one guy said असे शरीर प्रदर्शनाचे आणि काय समथिंग इंटिमेट च्या प्रकारचे सीन्स तुम्हाला करायला लाज, मराठी सिरियल मध्ये करायला लाज वाटत नाही काय. So he had mixed up both. So I generally do not respond to any unknown people. I rarely do. Some people really write some beautiful poetry. I reply to that or like it at least. And very rarely does one get to go through everything. तर मी तिथे ब्लॉग्स मध्ये नाही, that was the mostest biggest protest that I could do. And then he took it, and there is everybody coming after you. If one national integration ka thing I post, they call me a Pakistani prostitute and all that. But all of this is happening, and you have to be open to it. You're in the public space.
Correct.
And that is it. But this image thing plays a very big role. People do not like to see you. Like I will have people who are especially from the older age who काय गरज होती करायची. At this point in your career, I mean, imagine I have come and done that now because I felt okay, now I'm comfortable.
Yeah, you're ready for it.
And it is justified there. So because they have gotten together, that is it. I spoke to my children. Because I didn't want him to find it, like I said, on somewhere and then be shocked out of his skin. He said, oh gosh, that's I.
Correct. Well, so now for the next, this thing maybe post Tevha Tashi or for the future, what are your plans, either of you?
I am to Kolga Bell, going round and round writing more shows.
Anything you want to do, want to pursue?
I have a film idea which I've floated with a person also, and that's very, very dear to my heart. It's on adoption, so it's a topic that is very dear to me in any case. So that is something, but it's actually the temperament. I mean, all these years, people always tell you that you're a TV writer like a gali.
Like,
oh, your writing is so
TV
TV.
writer, TV actor.
Your writing is so TV. I don't even know what the hell that means. But I think what it really means is that TV writers, we become a little bit of jugglers, I mean, our temperament is one of fixing. Like you give me a problem, I'll give you 4 scenes to fix it.
Correct.
Cinema is not like that because
Correct.
it's there for posterity.
Correct.
You know, so it has to be like you remember scenes from a movie you saw 20, 30 years ago because it touched you in a way that
बरोबर.
you know it went to your soul. So there is a temperamental dip. Not that it's less, more, or anything, but it's different for sure.
Because the
Correct.
medium is different.
Correct.
So even the way you write it, the way you tell it, also time is less, right? Here,
Correct.
if I make a mistake, I can correct it in 1 week
Correct.
later.
Correct.
There, I don't have that luxury.
Correct.
It stays like a faulty piece of writing forever.
Correct.
So I want to make time, but I think that requires a certain amount of discipline. I know people who do it, wake up in the morning, give 4 hours of just
Charu,
apna writing,
Oh,
like
And
round,
he
round.
writes and then he posts photographs of his child.
I know. Chaha and ginger.
So
I'm,
so
I'm
jealous.
unable to do that, but I think that is something that has to happen
Correct.
because it's a story that is like, you know, it's like knocking on your door from
Correct.
inside. So it has to come out,
Correct.
otherwise it'll haunt me. So then I have to make time for that. That is one thing for sure. And then a lot of concepts which are doing rounds of several. एक OTT में आ जाए तो अच्छा है. But again, you know, OTT का concept अभी ऐसे हो गया कि it can't be TV
Correct.
and it's not
Can't be
got the
cinema.
cinema.
Correct.
So वो बीच का कहीं and this whole so-called notion that it has to be bold again.
Correct.
But bold is not taking off your clothes like you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
right
yeah.
at the beginning. You know,
Correct.
deciding to keep your clothes on and walk into a pub in salwar kameez is bold in my
Correct.
opinion.
Correct.
So I'm like, you know, redefining what you believe is
Correct.
the concept is also so with TV to get a new thing is hard. I'm also writing another. It's boring now. I'm writing a show on ZTV. So and there is the Marathi show. So 2 shows are on air,
Okay.
and I'm hoping to make time for a personal project, which is really something I
Okay.
want to do.
And Shilpa, you?
So the next step, like she
I
said,
know.
is something knocking from inside, saying this is a story that needs to be told,
Okay.
and to be able to create something. And out of that, one of the properties that I created was this wonderful exhibition called Vishay, which is basically using my platform, whichever big small way that it is, to help women entrepreneurs come to a larger audience, so as to say. So Vishay will, everything starts with a Vishay, right?
Correct.
There's a story, a Vishay to your story, to your show, to your film, to a portrait, a painting. आणि मराठीत आपण म्हणतो जसं की त्या दोघांचा विषय जरा वेगळा आहे. That was very nice. आणि विषय खाली अनेक, maybe there will be musicals, you know, mostly live performances is what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Also, yes, production is something I have nurtured this dream since I was 22 and I am way beyond mark on the time front. But another thing that I wanted to do is do some films down south, and April I start a Telugu film.
अरे वाह.
So
Oh,
that
how
is
cool.
one thing I'm
Very
really
good.
looking forward to. Yeah, I wouldn't really talk about it yet because I have not signed, but I have allotted dates. So a lovely co-star, superstar girl called Nanu, I believe.
अच्छा.
मी गुगल मारलं त्याला कारण माझं नॉलेज is humongous.
And I also want to add that Vishay is also Vivad in Shaila. So.
And Vishal, don't forget
And
that
Vishal.
they came because of him.
Vishal, Vivad and Shaila.
Anybody, any questions?
Yes, I have got that.
Yes, please.
My first question to Priya. Priya, when you write, there is lot of different emotions and everything you write. But are there people around you, friends, family, who tell you that ये ऐसा नहीं ऐसा होना चाहिए था, ये ऐसा नहीं, and then you take it in a
All the time.
positive way, and sometimes you change, or you
I
you
never
just
change
ignore,
it. But
and
you know, if I'm having any conversation, like we are having this a house party and we are laughing over something, everyone, somebody will surely say, "अरे ये ना फिर अपने serial में ये डाल देगी." And to assume that I would make everything in my life into a TV moment is actually quite preposterous. But having said that, you'll be really surprised how much of our real life scenarios we recreate on television.
Correct.
Like actually, it's really funny that my colleagues know more of my intimate details than some of my closest friends. Because when we sit at that table to discuss a story, we all just put it out there. And we talk about heartbreaks, we talk about our hurt with our family members, our relationship with our husbands and daughters and whatever. And it's absolutely unfiltered and uncensored. So in that sense, there is always some imbibing, but I would not be able to actually pinpoint कि ये particular चीज मुझे कहाँ से मिली है.
But you get angry on, back of the mind, going back at home and before going to bed, "Arey, isko aisa nahi hona chahiye." How does he know that how much efforts you are putting as a person?
But no, yeah, not at this age.
Okay. just wanted to.
Abhi, I don't have the bandwidth for extra drama because I put all the drama
So
on
much
my
is
work.
created here.
No, also in my work I use that drama, and now I'm like earlier. I'm just to give you an example. Earlier, if I had written "K, the hero will get off from a red car," okay, and if the channel said
White
नहीं रेड तो क्या है ये वो एक्सीडेंट्स हो जाते हैं वाइट होना चाहिए आई वुड फाइट टूथ एंड नेल कि नहीं मैंने रेड सोचा मैं रेड ही होना चाहिए टुडे आई एम लाइक भाई तू जो बनाना है कोई हेलीकॉप्टर बनाना है बना मुझे छोड़ दे आई एम गोइंग होम तो आई थिंक यू आल्सो that's like I said
Choose your battles,
you have to choose your battles sometimes of course if he suddenly makes a very good guy into a serial rapist or something I would protest of course I would but largely not every like I'm saying I learned it the very hard way that your work is not you.
Correct.
Like if my heroine is getting beaten doesn't mean I propagate women getting beaten.
Correct.
So I think to be able to separate your work and bring everything to the table. So it's a very strange, very bipolar lives we writers lead actually.
And having said that, I'll just like to add to that. Like today, this has happened. We were shooting the wedding scene and I couldn't find my footwear. And I'm very particular about not putting my feet down, going bare feet and dirty, and our vada is really dirty. So there's a sound guy, and with Patya Anamika, everybody, without us realizing, are in love with Anamika and are in love with Patya. And she said that no, you wouldn't use it in real life, but this whole 90s ka song sing, जी गाणी वाजतात पट्याच्या डोक्यात, we've used that. I don't know whether you watched the show. Yeah. So it happens with me. If I'm pepping myself up in my head, there is that, dan danadan, go, you need to do it. So I think it's also a lot about how we are as people. Probably that's why we are in this storytelling business. But today what has happened is I didn't want to put my foot down. मेरे जूते का है, the whole unit was looking at कि मैम का चप्पल किधर है, because they are so loving. And our sound guy, Subhash, who's a young boy, he said, "Ma'am, मी एक काम करू का? मी असा एक पाठ ठेवतो, तुम्ही तिथे पाठ ठेवा, मग मी पुढे पाठ ठेवतो आणि हे करा." And I was like, oh God, Subhash said that for me. I was like, he was my patya for that moment, And Ajinkya was next to me and I said, "Ajinkya, कसला आहे बा? हे use करूया आपण." And yeah, we use it. Because it's not very different. But yes, like she said, to think that everything will be used like that. Unfortunately, with people like me, what all I do there, I come back home and, a lot of time Vishal says, "Listen, what they do there, don't think that doesn't count." You come back to the reality.
Coming to you, my daughter is biggest fan of yours.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I couldn't get her. She's in Thane.
Okay.
She's 10 and she's in love with Anamika.
Oh.
And she's like, "Mama, तिची आई असं का टोकटोक करते सारखं." शी इज द मोस्ट बिगेस्ट
कावेरी.
राधाला का असं सांगते, आजी पण अशीच आहे.
Yeah.
I am not
Involved.
Maharashtrian. I'm a Sindhi, but I have got I've started loving the platform of Marathi movies, theatres because of my mother-in-law.
Okay.
And she's introduced me to this. So coming to that, in real life also you are like Anamika. I mean, Patya ko like you do mischief in between and you tuck him and you wink his eye.
Yeah, I am but I need my comfort zone.
No,
Not every second guy, not necessarily. But you can't be in love with a lot of people at the same time, thankfully. And Mr. Shetty is not like Patya, he's like the earlier Patya, not like the Patya who puts his hands in the pockets. It took a long time to. And I am the crazy one, so my children are used to me and the masti happens with me. He's more serious. I go running and have my weekend drink and do my work kind of thing. But probably that's what I needed.
One more question about
Yes.
the personal stuff. When you go home from your character, does your kids criticize you? Mama, असं नाही करायला पाहिजे किंवा whatever, I mean.
Yeah, so now what has happened is I have been doing a lot of work since a very long time. So I was working 10 years even before I got married. I got married at the age of 24. My son came when I was 25 and daughter soon after. So they were isolated from this entire thing of what their mom is for the longest time. In fact, I was so insecure about this. Kai karte, karan if you see us on set, like I said, if I do this, there's somebody waiting to hold this. There's someone doing that. So it's a very, for those 10 hours kind of life, right? They need to see real people as parents. So I think all that was not required, but I've worked extra at that with this sheer insecurity that they would grow up in too much of a limelight. I'm not a film person, but believe me, even the slightest thing, you know what kind of an influence it can have on your children. Yeah, but when I come home, my kids whine. They whine while I'm at work. The husband whines. So all of that is pretty much the same if you're trying to that.
Mom is
But
mom.
yeah, so I would fear and really be terrified at the day that they would not do that, because that would mean they're used to not having me at home. Believe me, 10 hours or 12 hours of work and an hour or hour and a half of travel time is a lot of time to stay away. But that is the way my industry functions. So if we don't, the number of hours I put in will be the same goals that I get, which I will not do. And somewhere I have brought them to understand the fact that I'm not working to just make a living, or I'm not working because I want to. I'm working because my parents invested emotionally in bringing me to what I am. Like I said, I was brought up to be this. So I'm doing the same for you. You have to do that.
And you aspire to do the things that you want.
The art and that.
Yeah, believe me, that doesn't let you keep away, and it's you're torn really bad.
Yeah.
Believe me, it is very bad. I've been through terrible times and actually thought of going into therapy. I don't know why I didn't, but because you expect so much from yourself.
Yeah.
And having said that, I was miserable to to be just sitting at home doing nothing, because when my daughter was born and after ladies special, I didn't have help at home. I need 24-hour help because my timings are like that, and I would be away with one child. But saying no to work when you can work, and only because I have been through that phase, and it was traumatic.
Have you got ever criticism from your own kids for your character?
For my characters, they've somehow not seen too much, but mine has been pretty simple stuff, nothing majorly controversial. But it shocked me, and I questioned my entire role as a mother when I was asked for Big Boss, I think the season 5 or 6. And I asked my husband, I said, why did they think of me? I have nothing to offer. I have no scandals. If there's anything scandalous, I'm smart enough to not let anybody know about it. And he said they need somebody to be thrown out in the first week, right? So my son said, why did you say no? They make a lot of money and there is so many endorsements and all of that will come. Then I had to sit him down and tell him that I am an actress and I make my money performing.
Correct.
That's why appearance money and all, yes, now I started to charge because people started fleecing me, but there was a time I would not even do that. Having been criticized, like when I did Hasrate, this web show that I talked about, the first people that I spoke with separately, not together, because I know they'll team up against me, was my son, and then separately with my daughter. So then I told one that the other has agreed, I told her that he has agreed, and caught them into it, and told my husband that both the kids have agreed. So that way, divide and
But when
rule
you approach
work.
your work like that, your work ethic is like that, the kids also understand.
Oh, yes.
And they understand that this is important for the mother, and they adjust also.
And there's also
along
this
with it.
thing that, like she said, not to sound pompous, but if you have a gift, it doesn't belong to you.
Yeah.
So if you are an actor, you are
This is
meant
not
to
pompous.
entertain.
This is true.
If you are a
Correct.
writer, you are meant to write.
Correct.
You are not supposed. It's a gift which was given to you.
Correct.
So
You have a mission.
you have a responsibility. It's like 100 people didn't get that gift.
Yeah.
So who's going to take it to them? So I know it can sound pompous because I'm not saying मैं बहुत महान हूँ. I'm not. But I think I write a little better than 4 people.
And so am I.
And if I'm able to bring joy, laughter, romance into their lives,
That is your gift.
that is my goal.
You should.
I have to do it. So this is what we'll teach our children tomorrow also, na? That if they are meant to do something, they must do it.
They must pursue it.
Like, it's not an easy journey. A life of choice is never easy. Because if you fall, you have only yourself to blame. But not having tried is a way worse way to live.
No, and I remember Shilpa's mom, like at the acting workshops, our parents used to come there. She was a kid and her mom used to be there. My mom also used to be there. The amount of investment you put, that emotional investment that my daughter wants to pursue this, and that she has
It's
to
not just
come
one
there
person,
and
right?
drop
So
and
the
pick up
entire
and wherever she
battalion
can
is
get
stood
it.
by you.
So that dream that she has dreamt of, other people have invested in, the parents have believed in, and then to say that, so clearly she wants it, and so she has to aim for it and pursue it, and that's the only.
I also think she meant character-wise. So
Huh.
when we were shooting the title of Tute Matashi at ND Studio, there was this shot. I don't know if you remember the title song, which is really a beautiful number, but where he turns around and he sees Anamika in the car, and he looks away and he looks back and she's not there,
Yeah.
or she's not there, and when he sees she's there, and I didn't know why I had this expression of ye wala. And Vivan turned around and he said, "What was this? You laugh at Shah Rukh Khan and you've done exactly what he does," and they all had a real laugh at it. So they do, because they're true, they're real, they're not worried about, you know, if he doesn't call me from uni, I say, oh, you have the time to call everybody and don't call. But about this, you have to be open. My husband chooses not to see any of the controversial stuff. We're all very human that way. He says, I can't bear to.
No, but I have one question. How much do their opinions matter?
Oh, it matters the world to me, especially the children.
So if they object to your,
I would convince really hard. Luckily, I have not reached that thing. But if they would object, it would be a real challenge. It would be a
and do you
real.
still pursue?
Depends. Depends on that. But like Hasrate, if they wouldn't, I really would have gone out tooth and nail and said that, you know, I really want to do it. And there are a lot of things that I have supported them in which I did not believe in, and they have gone ahead and done it and actually succeeded at it or failed really badly. So that much of a give and take we definitely have. They'd still say yes, you know. They, like I said, this big boss thing. I had to sit down and talk to him because, oh, why? It's a career opportunity according to him. I also was supposed to do this film Judwa, but it would be, I was traveling, I was in Dubai from 26th of Jan to 5th of Feb. I was doing this show, Hindi show, where I'm expected to be 20 days a month committed to them. And 10th of Feb, they wanted me to fly out to UK, and I said, no, I cannot do the film. And I casually came and told them, yeah, it was Varun Dhawan's mom's role or something. And they jumped. They said, what's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you do it? Then to explain this thing, he fought with me because obviously they want the best for you. Okay, you cannot. And I said, no, it's not professional.
No, but not wanting a role is one part, but wanting a role too badly and not being supported
I
for it
have
is another
not
part.
faced that situation yet. But you know, when they've seen, at least with the older one, the younger one, when I was traveling for work, she said, but why can't I go? Why do you get to go to Paris? So she was very clear of that, about that. But with roles, except for this Hasrate one, I have not really done anything, or nothing like that has come to me. Unfortunately, yes, I'm stuck in that image. That's why this was a thing to break it with a very justified kind of a thing. But when I did speak with them, it surprisingly came very, especially my younger one is a little more possessive about me. She's very Asaka, please, you can't smoke on screen. So I said, I will not smoke, but my character will. So that was a huge debate. But then they get to see, come to your point. But you have to be right in it. Otherwise, they will fight back.
I'm just going to say thank you, and then you can ask your questions, huh? Because then
I wonder whether we've overshot time.
No, no,
So
no.
we are good, but
But
you all
maybe
are.
we can mingle. So that
that's what
someone wants to mingle,
everyone
they
can
also
talk
do.
and ask things one-on-one
Yes.
also.
And if someone wants to leave, yeah.
Yes.
Or-
So thank you, Shilpa.
No, because
Nobody
you have to
wants to
stop
leave.
talking before your audience stops listening.
So Shilpa, thank you very much, and Priya, thank you for sparing this time to come here and have this.
This is very
wonderful
polished.
conversation.
Ro is not so kind to us.
And it was a really lovely chat, which I had expected, and fully expected that
pleasure.
it would go this way.
Yeah.
And given the context of Women's Day, given the context of your show and Holi, I am very glad that we did this, and thank you for spending this time.
Thank you.
We had fun.
Like Charu and us on the same thing and keep it a slightly longer session.
Yeah, of course.
Charu will be running helter skelter.
8 घंटा चाहिए